Hello and welcome. You are listening to Almost 30 Podcast.
Welcome to the pod. It's Lindsay, and this is my best friend, Krista. We're so glad you are here, whether you are new to the pod or an OG. We appreciate you. We know there's a lot of options out there, so glad you're here to party.
Yeah, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to freaking do about it? Lindsay and I were just talking before we got on, and it's like, I was thinking about this morning too in my workout, how opposite our lives are now.
Mm-hmm.
So Lindsay is in New York, married with baby, in full baby life, and I am single, on the move, doing my thing.
Every morning this week, Krista comes into the studio. So what'd you do last night?
Yeah, literally.
I'm like, let me tell you what I told you yesterday, which is got home, was a mom, cooked dinner,
put my child to bed.
Got up 8 times over the night, and here I am. Yeah.
What time? How many times did you get up?
3, but he was up from 11 to 2. So it was just like, it's just very interesting. Some nights he'll get up and easily go back down. Some nights it's like a little bit of a witching hour, or just like he has a lot of energy.
Wow.
So he'll be flailing. And it's not even he's like upset. He's like rocking his arm back and forth as if to get out energy.
Wow.
So I just let him do it.
Yeah.
But after 3 hours, I'm unwell. So I'll usually walk out of the room for a second, take a few breaths, tell Sean, hey, tapping you in. Can you go in? It's just, it's the vibe. It'll pass. But
you
when you're in
it,
it's, literally. I literally I placed him down. And I'm convinced that like my oming and my breathing will like soothe him, and sometimes it does.
I would be like that too. I'd be like, my vibrational frequency is going to entrain with his,
course.
And he's going to do whatever I say.
The oming is a magical thing in certain moments. It definitely works. I think even more so on smaller babies. But yeah, I was just standing there, and I was just like, I planted my feet on the ground, and I was like, oh
my God.
In complete darkness. And
the crazy things that you do when you're like sleep deprived or like desperate, it's just like.
It was so bad.
You're desperate doing that. I'm desperate. Like I go out and I'm like about to go out. I'm like, I'm channeling my divine feminine. I was like, my whole essence is incredibly magnetic and feminine, and I'm opening up my divine channel. It's just like.
Do you set intentions before you either go out or go on dates?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes they're fully. At the beginning, I was really on track with my intentions. My last one was a full manifestation of my intention. It was really beautiful, but sometimes, like, I think my last thing, it was like not. I was like, oh, I want whatever, and it was opposite.
Yeah.
So it's mostly working, but it can't work every time, because every time you're like,
I know.
I'm looking for an absolute home run.
Yeah.
I'm looking for you to like buy me a house and be the love of my life. So it doesn't work every time, but I do set an intention that I do this. Me and one of my really good friends do a secret thing that I can't even share on the podcast because it's too powerful. But I did it one night, this secret action, and literally had the best night. It was the night in Paris when I was out in Paris and had the best night literally ever, magical. And it was because I did this magic thing. And it's honestly too powerful where I don't want to do it every night.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's probably exhausting if you do it every day.
No, honestly, I was like, I texted her. I was like, it's too powerful. We can't do it. She's like, I know. We can only do it very rarely. I'm like, okay.
And does it feel like you want to reserve it for people that you're like, yeah, this is
No, because I didn't know this person. I want to reserve it for a night where I'm like genuinely committed to like really magical things.
Okay.
Unraveling and happening.
Got it.
And like I might do it Friday here. Yeah, it's like you feel the vibe. You're like, okay, I'm ready for this thing to happen.
Completely.
I'm ready for a portal to open.
Yep.
And things to happen.
I mean, everyone's going to be DMing you. Can you
I'm sorry, guys. I have to ask. Me and my friend were like, we have to keep it between us.
No, of course.
Everything can't be an Instagram reel that people consume. Okay.
Completely. That's what I was thinking the other day. I was like, why some weeks am I like just so blank, so uninspired, whatever. And it's not that I don't. It's more so that I'm meant to like be more in my life than sharing it. But then there are weeks that I'm meant to be in flow and sharing and whatever. But I always thought there was like something wrong with me where I'm like, why the fuck does this happen? The algorithm hates it, but I
I
think
know.
my life
That's the
enjoys
whole
it.
thing. The algorithm. Yeah. I've been on that tip lately thinking about the algorithm and how we just feed it all day.
All day. It's
We
a
chase it.
happy monster.
And we chase it and we feed it all day long. It's
Mhm.
like so wild. It's so wild how it's so part of us now. But I was thinking about the trajectory of when we were first on, how like everyone's like social media is fake. And it was more fake then than it
I
is
agree
now,
with that.
actually. Like it was like the stage photo shoots. Everything was insane. Like people were on vacations. People were like really doing the thing. And almost now that's like cringe. So it's like the more
Mhm.
real, in quotes, the more it does, even though you still can't get truly real when you're doing it online. But I do feel like it's more realistic than it is now, which is really beautiful, but also scary. Because then it's even more embedded in our life in a way that,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like before it
Yes.
was like, we're going to set up a photo shoot and take a photo against a graffiti wall that says love, or I'm going to have angel wings on a graffiti wall behind me. And then
We love
in
it.
Nashville, like I'm in Austin and I love you wall is here. But now it's like, it's beautiful that it's more normal, but now it's made it so incredibly
Because
in our
it's
lives.
easy to kind of
Yes.
create content,
Yes.
pump it out,
Where you're
pump
like,
it
I'm just
out.
going to lay my phone down while I'm like, bouncing my child on my hip.
Dude, no judgment, but how you share a reel of the footage from your labor and birth and pump that out like the next day or two is kind of crazy to me. I was thinking about like setting up the phone. I saw someone's and it was like getting into the car, driving in the car, getting out of the car. Like the camera was set up way outside the car. Can you imagine the either the husband setting it up or setting it up with contractions?
You're like, ah! You're like right
the
over
angle's
there.
wrong!
Yeah. You're like, he's coming. You're like, that's my bad side.
But it's kind of crazy.
Or people do full looks, makeup.
Oh yeah, I saw that too the other day, which I was like, It's just, and maybe it's like a fun thing, like I don't know, I guess they expect to take pictures, but dude, it shocked me.
I think I agree and I understand. And yes, I think I don't have as much judgment about capturing it. I have more judgment about doing a full look. Because then you're like, so I'm a baby.
But it's not for the baby.
Exactly. No, I'm a baby and I'm just born and you're my mom.
Mhm.
And you are prioritizing a full look over this moment.
Also, I want no substances or chemicals near my baby.
Exactly.
That's
Like,
the whole
you're
thing
like-
for me.
You're like fully like locked and loaded with a soft glam, smoky eye. And you're like,
Dude,
my husband would be like, this is ridiculous.
you should see the picture of me after birth. I am
A creature.
a creature. It's
I want to
crazy.
be a creature. I've
Yeah.
channeled something that I don't even know what just moved through my body.
Mhm.
I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
It's actually more beautiful to look back at that where I'm like,
yes.
I know exactly
Yes.
what that was.
Totally. And like the women cry, like the crying or whatever, like I don't even know. Yeah. It's a whole universe and an experience of the motherhood thing that it's like showing the baby, not showing the baby, having it included, having it not, like how much do you show, how much do you not show. But there is like a whole like obsession and fascination with people's children.
For sure.
That really like.
I'm sure people see that their content with their children does better than not.
100%.
Mm-hmm. And I think the algorithm favors that.
For sure.
In a weird way, in a kind of a sick way, but.
Wow. Say more.
I just think there's some like weird AI things happening and like capturing people's images and children's images and like faces and stuff. And I think it favors people who share their children in videos and photos.
That's a good one.
I don't know if that's true. That's simply speculation, but yeah.
I also think too, it's like there's this whole generation of women that grew up with like baby dolls and playing with baby dolls. And then it's like you get older on Instagram and you're like, it's just like that same type of mentality where you're like, oh, we love babies. Like there's just like a weird baby obsession or cute. Like, I don't even know. Where it's like, oh, like, but the baby's not a person. It's like a thing.
Yeah.
Rather than that, like a prop.
Totally.
There are some babies online though. There is like, do you know Cezanne? She's a creator, the woman, yeah. And she has like her 3 children. Girl, her kids are so,
Insane.
They're so cute. Like it is unreal. Like I just am
of course
I'm grateful for it.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm
totally.
grateful you show your insanely cute kids.
I was watching a video. It's always fun to see like toddlers and they're talking.
For sure.
There's a pastor. It was on my like Discover thing. There was a pastor, and he was talking to his toddler. She was talking to him, and I guess she goes to all of the services. She's like, "No, Dad, you don't understand. Like when you pray, you are praying into the hearts of people, and I see them cry, and they are crying from their heart." And she just went on and like almost like preaching into him.
Yes.
Where she's like, "You are powerful." Like just going on and on. I hope I saved it. It was so cute. And the mom and dad started crying because she was just like so genuine. She's not like putting on a show. She's just like, I see you guys. I see you. So cute.
You just cannot.
I know.
That is like kids are just, they got their own little vibe.
I know.
I think I told you I was with one of my dear friends and her daughter is 4 now. And her daughter calls her full name.
Yeah.
She's like, hi, Jem. Her name's Gemma. She's like, thank you, Jem.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. She's like, why do you call me that? She's like, everyone else calls you that. That's
They're
what I call you.
so random. I love
So
them.
random. Like, I had this kid I used to babysit. He used to call me Crocker. He'd be like, come on, Crocker. I'm like, all right, dude. I literally was like, where did you get that? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, let's freaking go. And then I'll never forget one time he was like sitting on my lap and he was squeezing my leg. And he goes, why is your leg so much fatter than my mommy's? I was like, well, your mom hasn't eaten in months. I was like, ugh.
Oh my God.
But that was back in the day. Do you remember her? The little girl too would eat candy and the mom would be like, you're going to get fat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was kind of wild.
Wow. Okay.
It was not an ideal situation,
Yeah, totally.
body-wise. But I didn't really know better. I was like 14. So I was like, yeah, she was going to get fat. I was like, But yeah, I don't think people knew better then. But it was like I think the mom ate string cheese for like a whole week.
Yeah, of course.
She was running marathons. It was crazy.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay.
That's fun.
The dad was kind of a pervert too, but whatever.
I'm okay.
One time I came over, he's like, Krista, I'm in the bath. Come in. Swear to God.
Oh, man.
Why is this always happening to me? This is my whole life. I'm going to write a book of all the creepy things that I've had said or happened to me.
It's insane.
And it's going to be called, I love men, but.
Yeah, literally.
I love men, but y'all need Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
It's so wild.
It's exhausting.
It was funny. She's like, Kyle, don't say that to her.
Do you think they were swingers?
I think they did their thing.
Uh-huh.
And I remember one night I was asleep and they came home and they were both wasted. And he's like, Krista, when was the first time you gave head? Oh, yeah. It was insane. I can't even tell you. This is my whole life. It's crazy.
Oh, my God.
Anywho, we don't even need to take a turn.
Let's do a sharp pivot.
Yeah, honestly, welcome to Almost 30 Podcast. If you're new here, welcome. And today we're going to be talking about skin. I am excited about this one. So Lindsay and I were talking about OneSkin right before we got on, and you were like schooling me, sharing information about it because we've been using OneSkin for a while. I really love their body lotion. I actually was with a friend on a trip this weekend and I brought it and she's like, this is really nice lotion. Is this from the hotel? And I was like, no, it's mine. She's like, okay, I was going to say because it feels so good. It's so nice. And the sunscreen is really, really nice.
I love the face sunscreen.
I'm now using sunscreen every day and I feel like it's a level of pride and confidence that is unparalleled.
Candidly, I didn't for a long time.
What do you mean ever?
Yeah.
Boring. Bleh.
I know. I was like, why did
I was afraid it was going to clog my pores.
Same.
And it was going to break me out.
And I didn't know when to put it on in the sequence of skincare products, which is kind of still true, but I just put it on first.
You do first and then moisturizer?
I do like spritz, sunscreen, then moisturizer, and then if I'm doing makeup.
Interesting. I need to get this confirmed.
But I'm not sure.
I'm moisturizer. I'm spritz morning, moisturizer, sunscreen.
Okay.
And then
I don't think that's bad.
My face stuff also has sunscreen.
Okay, double.
Does yours?
Yeah, actually it does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also with the OneScreen sunscreen, I always have to bring it to my chest.
I know you got to do the
Girl, I'm watching
what is it called?
Décolleté.
Décolleté.
I'm watching
I
my
say décolletage.
I know I do too. I was going to say, I was like, it's décolletage. I've been watching my décolletage like a freaking hawk.
I know.
But you know what? Lasers have really helped with that.
I want to talk to you about lasers after this because, yeah.
We can talk about lasers now. We can talk about lasers whenever.
So
Everyone be DMing me about my lasers.
I was going to do, or I'm set to do lasers. I think maybe it's Halo.
Okay.
But like, I keep putting it off because I don't know if it's like intuitively, it doesn't feel like, is it going to damage my skin in any way where like it's going to compromise the health of it? I don't know. Is it for everyone?
So this is me sitting in a chair in Times Square, being someone that's used a lot of lasers that isn't a professional, telling you. And been in the space, knows a lot of people that talk about it. So get professional advice on this. But my opinion and what I've heard from a lot of the people that I talk to, especially the practitioners, is that it's very specific to what kind of skin you have.
Yeah.
The type of skin that I have, it can take pretty much anything.
Okay.
It can like do any damage, like, and it's fine. But I have friends that have different levels and types of skin, and it completely is different.
I know.
Like I have a friend who's got really beautiful olive skin, Gina, and it like messes it up because of the bright. So it's basically lasers are a type of light that's like a frequency of light that sometimes is more intense than others that penetrates different levels of your skin. And this provides cellular turnover. This provides like, mostly cellular turnover for your skin. So it's like the type of light, just like if you were looking at the sun, can impact us in different ways. So it could be really good if it's like a certain type frequency, or it could be too much for your skin. But Halo sounds like a lighter one.
It is a lighter one.
I know the most ones, like the deepest ones, are like the Fraxels.
Yes.
Or if you're doing like a Morpheus, which has the microneedling.
Did Morpheus.
I liked Morpheus. Did you like it?
I did not like it. I think I just, when you do the most before your wedding, that was the one I did before my wedding. And I actually went to LA right after Morpheus. I don't know if you remember, and I was breaking out. I was like, why the fuck did I do this?
Yeah.
But it gets better and it heals and you're fine. And I think my skin was good.
It's interesting because it's like the breakout could be from the cream, the stuff they put on your face before or after. Like you don't really know. But yeah, I've heard mixed reviews on Morpheus. I liked it, but it's more for tightening and like sculpting rather than like texture and tone. But Fraxel's usually the most intense. And then they have other ones like Clear and Brilliant, or they probably have Halos a little bit lighter. I've done BBL Moxie.
Okay.
I did that. I've done that a good amount, the BBL Moxie, which I really like. But I think Halo sounds like one that would be
And it's like a
nice.
decent recovery time. It's like a few days. It's nothing crazy.
I think for me, it's really helped with preventative. Like I don't like fine lines on the neck, fine lines here, like the eyes, the wrinkles, and really like having like broken capillaries, like just a really even texture and tone is, for the most part, from what I believe, is gotten from lasers.
Yeah. Okay.
So like celebrities that have that perfectly even texture and tone is like from lasers.
Got it. Yeah, because I'm just exploring just alternatives. OneSkin is, a brand that I'm excited to talk about, and also just dig into like the science behind skincare. I think we're so bombarded with all the treatments and the products, and it's really hard to know like, okay, what's the science behind this? What is it actually doing? But I'm kind of in this mode of exploring and researching, because I'm no longer doing Botox, no longer kind of taking that nice little shortcut. To be honest, I loved Botox. It was amazing for years.
I can't believe that. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
The facial massage is working.
It's facial massage, cupping. I mean, it's everything.
Do you do
taping, cupping, facial taping massage? Too. Yeah, it's not every night. That's such a commitment. It's when I'm real rich, I'm going to have someone tape my face every night.
I love it. You're like, do you want a chef? You're like, no, I want a face taper.
Yeah, it's
I want a face taper to.
It's a lot. But I think I'm obsessed with like, and I feel like you've been on this tip for years, but the tension in the head and the neck and how that affects the face and pulls down on your face and actually creates more wrinkles.
Yes.
All of that stuff. And then just simplifying my product line.
Yeah.
So that I'm not doing like the absolute most and not really knowing what's happening and what's working. And then doing treatments that I know will be like healthy and beneficial for the skin.
Hey, everybody, don't fall for 9 steps.
I know.
Like, come on. Like, we know that's a marketing. Like, no one needs a 9-step program. But yeah, what's so cool, I was excited about OneSkin because of the peptide element. So I take peptides. I take them through Joy Wellness. I've been taking I took ipamorelin for a while. I took ceramorelin. I'm taking ceramorelin now. Those are the only, besides NAD, those are the only 2 peptides I'm taking. Everyone keeps asking about other ones. I'm not taking other ones. But those have been so helpful. Collagen is a peptide too, essentially. Collagen has also been something that we've taken over the years that have been incredibly helpful. And I really love that they really took their time with researching this patented peptide that they found, and that's the OS1, the first ingredient scientifically proven to reverse skin's biological age at the molecular level, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So they did 7 years of research to develop the OS1 peptide, and this helped find this really powerful peptide that is proven to reverse skin's biological age.
Yeah. And so what happens is that over time, there's this thing called cellular senescence, which is when like the cells in your skin kind of turn into little zombies. And that's caused by environmental damage. It could be sun. It could be, just environmental toxins. It could be a multitude of things. And they basically like secrete pro-aging factors. And so what the OneSkin products do, the OS01 peptide, just helps basically reverse this dysfunction. So it's really, really fascinating. And what I love is they've done a ton of studies. So you can see it all, read it all on their website, oneskin.co, oneskin.co. And yeah, I'm just in the business now of like being sure that what I'm using has been proven to work on most skin types. Because I think what can be tricky, especially with people who struggle with acne or other skin conditions, they think that certain skincare is a one size fits all, and you just have to be mindful of that. So I've had a really good experience. They basically treat skin or these products as like fitness for the skin. So it's over time, you're going to strengthen and tone the skin and just revive the skin.
Yes.
And it works. I'm really loving it. I've been using the face moisturizer, body moisturizer, and the face sunscreen specifically, and the under eye for like 3.5 months now. Yeah.
I like the sunscreen in the body, and then the under eye is really good. The body, it's like, that was something I think too. Lately, I've been fascinated with like what makes people look older, because I think it's physical, but I also think it's like an energetic thing that you're reading things. So
Yes.
I'm always just curious about that relationship. So I was thinking about physically what makes someone look older, and you forget about the body. Like I've been thinking about my hands lately. I've been thinking about my arms. I've been thinking about like my kneecaps. I was looking at my kneecaps the other day. I was like,
dude, my elbows too. Yeah.
I was like, is this how that happens?
I know. Like, you're like, God.
Is this that time? And I'm so grateful because having a body product for anti-aging is like so underrated.
Yes.
Like it's something we can't just be like little porcelain dolls on our face and then have like wrinkly old bodies. So this conversation was really beautiful with their founder, Carolina. And we got to talk all about the science of skincare. So if you're interested in anti-aging, if you're interested in peptides, if you're interested in the science of skin and really taking care of yourself, this is going to be the one that you listen to, because there's so much to know that I didn't know about. I think we've talked about skin in different ways, like tips and other things, but I don't think we've talked about like research and science in this way. So I'm excited for you guys to try OneSkin. You can go to oneskin.co. It's oneskin.co and use code almost30 to get a discount. So that's oneskin.co and use code almost30. That's OneSkin.co and use code almost30. And then again, I love the body, I love the under eye, and I love the SPF, and you love
the SPF for face, the body lotion, and the face moisturizer is awesome. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy this episode, and we will see you on the other side.
We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
AG1 is the OG of my morning routine, and she is here to stay forever and ever. I've been taking AG1 for 4 years. It is like daily self-care for me. I am a new mom. I have a 14-month-old. And if I am able to set the tone first thing in the morning when it comes to healthy habits, I am like I'm freaking super mom, man. So what I do is I set out a glass. I have my glass pitcher of water next to it, and then I have my AG1 canister, and I just put 1 scoop in the glass, pour the water in, take it down first thing. Well, before I have my coffee, before I have my breakfast, it's the first thing that I put in my body. It gives my body the vitamins, minerals, and more that it needs. And I've just noticed such an increase in energy. My digestion is amazing. And I just feel really, really good in my body. I love this brand. We've trusted this brand for many, many years that now, we don't partner with anyone lightly. We gotta believe in the product, and we have believed in AG1 from the beginning. It contains prebiotics, probiotics, gut supporting ingredients. So you're gonna have great digestion, reduced bloating. I'm experiencing great regularity, which is awesome. Example, in a research study, 80% of participants noticed less gas and bloating after 30 days of drinking AG1, which is pretty fantastic. It's made with all bioavailable ingredients that actually work with your body. And the powder form makes it easy for your body to digest and access the nutrient-dense ingredients in the formula. They are obsessed with the quality, so I have no qualms about that. Non-GMO ingredients, no added sugar. So start AG1 and notice the difference for yourself. It's a great first step to investing in your health, and that's why we've been proud partners of theirs for so long. So try AG1 and get a free bottle of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/almost30. That's a $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/almost30. Oh, when you find a good pair of jeans, isn't it a total game changer? Like, I look forward to getting dressed when I have those jeans that I just know I can go to and they look good, whether I'm dressing up or dressing down. Well, I found an incredible pair of jeans at Good American. Their Always Fits jeans are like revolutionary, I would say. And I don't say that lightly. I don't know about you, but there are different times of the month where I might be a different size. There are different points in my life when I might be fluctuate between sizes. But what's really, really cool is the Always Fits denim uses a one size fits four design that adapts to your body's changes and fluctuations, guaranteeing the perfect fit every single time. So when your body changes, your jeans won't have to. It's flexible denim. It's this four-way stretch, and it has this recovery in the fabric, so it moves with you, stretching up and down 4 sizes, holding its shape and flattering your own specific shape. I am just blown away by these jeans. They are available in size 00 to plus size 32. It has a gap-proof waistband, tummy-soothing technology, 100% stretch, and reinforced belt loops. I hate when my belt loops break, so I love these. They have a bunch of styles, skinny jeans to boot cut. I got the skinny jeans, and it has like a little slit at the bottom. They're so fab. I got them in black. And I just highly recommend. We deserve a good pair of jeans. Good American offers a wide variety of styles that cater to every preference and occasion. I'm excited for you to check out this brand. Our offer, we always got you. Shop now at goodamerican.com. Use promo code almost30 for $50 off your first pair. That's pretty baller. Don't forget to select podcast at checkout and choose our show to let them know that we sent you. That helps us out. Thank you so much. Goodamerican.com. Use promo code almost30 for $50 off your first pair.
Welcome to the pod, Carolina.
Thank you so much, Krista.
I'm so excited to have you. We just got into a juicy conversation before, but we're going to talk skincare. We're going to talk about your journey. We're going to talk about peptides. We're going to talk about anti-aging, longevity. Lindsay and I have been using the product for a few months now. It's been amazing. I was wearing the sunscreen all last week when I was on my trip. I love the tone and texture, and I just feel like what you guys are doing is so special. So I'm really excited to talk. We've talked a bit about skincare on the podcast, but the reason why we were so excited to have you on is because the science approach, because of the technology. I think there's a lot of information around skincare that we can debunk and sort of explore. But I'd love to hear for you, what was so interesting to you about skincare? Why did you get into this space? Like, there's a lot of things that you could have done. What made you choose skincare as your avenue?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I never thought that I would be in skincare or beauty. Growing up, I was always passionate about science, but in a way that I would see that I could use science to develop something around the human health. I want to help people to live better, to have better quality of life. And I don't know if because I was seeing my grandparents aging, and at some point in school, I was always like curious about biology and the human body and how things work from a biological standpoint. And I was like, wow, if I can help like manipulate our body, our biology, and I can fix things so people can, live better without the diseases, this would be amazing. So that's actually how I started directing my career in the science field. So first I studied biochemistry for my undergrad, and then I went on and I got a PhD in stem cell biology and tissue engineering, because this area to me was one of the closest area that I could see a translation to any application that could help people. So eventually I landed into skincare more through the aging lens than through the beauty lens, that we can get into it. But it was definitely like an evolution of a research project that I started when I first, I started my entrepreneurial career back in Brazil. So yeah, today I'm really passionate about like skin and skin health, and obviously how we can improve our skin and we can now look and feel our best. But I was never like a skincare junkie. So I'm still like really passionate about health and how we can manage aging to help all of us like to live better, to age better, and to help our skin as well. So yeah, it's very interesting how things end up like changing, and I'm really excited about what we're doing today. But that was not how I started.
Yeah, I think for most entrepreneurs that I know, it's like you just follow the path. It's not a lot of people go in, they're like, I'm going to do this specific thing with skincare and discover this thing. It's like, I'm going to take this step and then I'm going to go this step and I'm going to go this step, and it leads you to where you need to go. But I love the approach of skincare from the health perspective, skincare from the aging perspective, because I do think that there's the camp of like using tons of products and kind of like the collector hoardership of tons of products and using tons of things. How can we look at skincare from a health perspective? Like, I think most of us approach it just from beauty. So how do we look at skincare from health?
Yeah, so basically it's understanding how when your skin is not healthy or when your skin is aging, basically the skin is losing its function, that's to protect our body. So if we can keep our skin healthy and behaving like younger for longer, we're also supporting our health. So that's like the beauty of connecting our skin with our overall health, because in the end, our skin is an organ and is designed to protect our internal body. And depending on the products that we put on our skin or the lifestyle that we live, if our skin is aging too fast, we are basically degrading that skin barrier, and that can lead to consequences into our internal health. So I think understanding how we can maintain our skin stronger and more resilient for the long term, which will consequently will make you to look better. It's the angle that we approach of like delivering this skin health from inside, and the consequence is that it's that you have a better appearance.
Do you feel like, could we say that the better someone's skin looks, the healthier it is? Or could you have skin that looks good that's not healthy?
Yeah, you definitely can. So you can see people that have done a lot of procedures or have used a lot of acids or like constantly stripping out like their skin, and you're over exfoliating, and eventually their skin look like paper thin. And that's not healthy. You feel that eventually the skin is more sensitive to sun. They can be like wrinkle free, but it's not a strong skin. So for us, like wrinkle free doesn't mean that you have like a healthy skin. When you have a stronger skin barrier and your skin is, it's plump, it's like radiant, that's when it means that you have a healthy skin.
Is skin, so how much of it's genetic and how much of it is things that we can do? You know, because I think about my skin's pretty thick in the way, like I've not struggled with my skin much in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. But I'm like, how much of that is actually what I'm doing and how much of that is just genetics?
Yeah. So I would say within like one ethnicity or race. So obviously we know that, for example, Asian people, they tend to age slower. Afro-American, because they also have more melanin, they are also more protected against sun damage. So if you only take like Caucasian or Hispanic, whatever race or ethnicity, within that same category, your genetics impacts around like 10 to 20%, and the rest is lifestyle. So obviously some people can, be a little bit more privileged in terms of genes, but usually the lifestyle will impact more in terms of how your skin looks and ages as well.
Wow. I want to get more into that, like in a lot more detail, but I don't want to lose the thread of you starting OneSkin. So you found interest in the space with skincare and you were like, okay, this will be like the perfect channel for like all my interests. What was it about OneSkin? Like, what was it about the peptide you guys discovered? Like, how did this sort of come to be where you were like, we're doing something different.
Yeah.
This needs to be brought to the market?
Yeah. So when I moved here in 2016, I came to join this biotech accelerator. And initially our goal was not to develop a product. We want to use our expertise of growing human skins in the lab to test the efficacy of anti-aging products that were already in the market. We know that the market is overloaded with products with like crazy promises. And we thought that was important to help the consumer to distinguish like which products work, which don't. So basically, we can grow the skin in the lab and we can measure we call like the skin biological age. Basically, the DNA of our skins can tell our true age. So, for example, you can be 30 or 35 and your skin can be...
I'm 22. 19.
Yeah, you can be 19 and your skin can be 15 or 25,
Wow.
depending on your lifestyle. So we are able to basically read the DNA of the skin and determine, okay, the skin here is 35. And then we are able to test products and see if that product can reduce the age of the skin. So ideally, most anti-aging products would like reduce the age of the skin. And that's like the real rejuvenation effect from a molecular standpoint. What we found right in the beginning is that most products, they either didn't change the age of the skin or some were accelerating the age of the skin.
Wow.
And these are products that are claiming to be anti-aging, that are the best-selling, really expensive products. And what we also saw on the other side is that the science of aging has evolved so much in the past like 10, 15 years. We now understand better what's driving aging at the cellular level. And in 2016, when I came here, there was this movement starting around longevity and companies are starting out to target aging in the first place, because it's normal to see companies should target like cancer or Alzheimer's. But when we realize that all of those, the main cause of all of those diseases is aging, or if you can target like the fundamental cause, we can actually prevent those diseases. That's like a better approach. So we saw many companies targeting aging, but to address cardiovascular disease, or targeting aging to address like Alzheimer's. And we saw that there was an opportunity to target this root cause of aging to address skin aging. That is a massive market that hasn't been disrupted in the past like 50 years since retinoic acid was like implemented in the skincare industry. And basically, okay, there is actually a better way to target the age of the skin and promote like long-term effects, because most of the products in the market, they are targeting only the symptoms of aging. They are not going to the root cause. So if you think of like retinoic acid or retinoids, for example, they want to minimize your fine lines, wrinkles, and induce that cell turnover. but they are basically, inducing your skin to peel off like the upper layers of your skin. So you create like a fresher, younger skin, but it's not addressing like underneath what's actually causing the aging process. So you can use retinol and can make you look fresher, but what's driving aging is still happening. And we needed to target there to have like a better long-lasting effect. So that's when OneSkin realized we realized at OneSkin, okay, there is actually a better way to develop products for aging skin. And really from this perspective of improving the health of your skin first, not the other way around. And then we decided to switch and like from testing products to actually now research new molecules that could reverse the age of the skin and make your skin not only look younger, but behave like younger skin.
When we talk about, I always, with these conversations, I want to get super specific on what we're talking about because there's a lot of words that in the health space that are thrown around. So when we say aging, what do we mean?
Yeah.
What is aging?
Aging is basically the accumulation of damage over time. So
In your cells.
In our cells.
Okay.
So there is that like what we call intrinsic aging. That's the process that our cells are dividing. And during these divisions, they can accumulate some mutations. Some mutations can be corrected by DNA repair enzymes. But eventually, our own body gets deficient and we tend to accumulate more mutations. And some cells get to an old stage and they die. Some cells get to an old stage and they don't die. These cells are problematic, and we're going to talk about that.
Wow, okay.
The other factor that induces aging is basically what we call extrinsic aging. So this is our environmental stressor. So in the skin, for example, 90% of the visual signs of aging is caused by UV aging. So, the UV exposure. And obviously you have pollution, you have other types of radiation, blue light. So the UV exposure is causing direct damage in our proteins, in our DNA. And this also leads to some cells to age faster and to become dysfunctional or enter in this state that we call like senescence or zombie cells. Have you heard of zombie cells?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So these are cells that they are already very damaged. They should die, but they are able... I know, they are not good. Actually, they are good because if they are very damaged. If they continue to divide, they could become cancer. So this is not...
Whoa.
Yeah, because they are so mutated and they should not proliferate or replicate anymore. But because... so they stop dividing and they should die, but they are able to stick around. And the accumulation of those zombie cells leads to more inflammation in our skin. And this inflammation will lead to the cells around to age faster. So we call this like the rotten apple effect. Like one rotten apple will basically contaminate the cells around. And this will lead to accelerated aging. So one approach that has been used in the longevity field for the past like few years is try to prevent the accumulation of those zombie cells or remove them. So if you are able to decrease the load of those old cells in our skin, basically you are making room for the healthy and young cells to proliferate, and they can go back to produce collagen again. They can basically rejuvenate your skin from the inside out. So you're basically removing the bad cells and allowing only the good cells to work well. And you can bring your skin back to that younger functional state.
Wow.
So that's the approach that OneSkin decided to focus on, finding new molecules, more specifically peptides, that can decrease the accumulation of those old cells in the skin so we can keep our skin like looking, behaving younger for longer.
I wonder, I want to talk about peptides, but I wonder with the zombie cells, what would be the function? So they're not technically alive, they're dysfunctional cells. What could be keeping them running? Electricity in this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, there is a process that's like called cell death that's programmed that they are able to inhibit that pathway. So because they're able to inhibit the what we call apoptosis or cell death, they are there half alive, half dead, but then they start secreting these inflammatory signals. And these inflammatory signals will lead eventually to collagen breakdown.
Wow.
And they lead to this process that we also call like inflammaging. Have you heard of inflammaging?
No, tell me more.
Yeah. So inflammaging is basically the accumulation of chronic inflammation in our body. And that's associated with age-related diseases. So if you want to simplify aging, I would say that aging is accumulation of damage that leads to old cells or like dysfunctional cells that secrete inflammation, and that inflammaging will lead to further dysfunction and will lead to an accelerated aging process. So by reducing inflammation overall, we can reverse aging. This is a great way to maintain our body in homeostasis, because a lot of times when we are inflamed, our body doesn't function well. It gets totally like dysregulated. So that's why keeping low levels of inflammation is good for your skin, but obviously for overall health.
Wow. I'm never going to forget about the zombie cells. You mentioned peptides, and I know you guys had a discovery of a specific peptide. So there's a lot of conversation around peptides. I take peptides. I was telling you before, I don't really know what they are. Can we talk about what peptides are overall, and then the peptide specifically that was helpful for y'all?
Yeah. So peptides are basically a chain of amino acids or like a piece of a protein. It's like they are the building blocks of a protein. A very, common example of a peptide is insulin. So insulin is a peptide that binds, a receptor and activates like the glucose intake from our cells. So they act like a signaling molecule. So they can bind like proteins, receptors inside or outside the cell, and they can activate or suppress certain pathways. So the peptides that are usually common in skincare, you mentioned earlier, like the copper peptide. These are peptides designed to improve collagen. There are other peptides that are also designed to improve like DNA repair or so there are different peptides in the market. I think the main challenge is really to understand how a certain peptide works, like the mechanism of action. Also to understand the dose that they should work best, if they can penetrate, because they needed to enter inside the cell, or in the case of the skin, they needed to be at a certain size that can go through the skin barrier or the stratum corneum, that's the upper layer of the skin, in order to be functional. Otherwise, you can load your skin with peptides. If they just sit on top, like you are not gaining any results or benefits. So there are a lot of things that are important when you are using a product with a peptide, to understand the concentration, the safety, the dose, and the delivery of that peptide.
Yeah, when I did copper topically, so you can inject it, I guess. I did it topically. I didn't really notice anything. But I don't know. Someone then said, they're like, well, that's because it's something you do now, but when you're older, you'll notice. I'm like, okay, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it's interesting because we tested different sources of copper peptide, and some of them were effective, some were not. So I think depending on the product and depending on the supplier of that peptide, and this is true for all ingredients, hyaluronic acid and you name it, some can be really effective, some may not deliver any benefits. So that's why I feel so bad for the consumer, because I was like in that place that I was lost. Oh my goodness, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And how do I know what's really good or really effective? And luckily now we are in this position that we can test everything. So for example, we test like this different source of peptide, and we saw, okay, this one works, but this one doesn't work. We are able to develop products that combine only the most effective ingredients. But for the consumers, it's really hard, and they really needed to either dig into the data or follow someone that break down the data, or hopefully the brand like simplifies the data for them, which is not that common. Unfortunately, like many brands don't care as much about the science behind. I think there is a lot of brands just mixing the same ingredients and putting beautiful packages, but not really doing the rigorous test that we needed to do to make sure that the product is actually delivering benefits. Because when we are developing our products, it's interesting because a lot of times you can combine the best actives and the result will not necessarily be good. So it's an art, and obviously it's a science, but it requires a lot of like real testing to make sure that you are delivering something good for the consumer.
What's the peptide that you all use? How did you guys discover it?
Yeah, so basically, as I said, we were like, there is no one that's targeting senescent cells or zombie cells in the skin. Let's look for a peptide that would reduce the amount of those.
And take them down.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like zombie cells.
Yes. No.
So we spent like 5 years testing like 900 peptides. So the way that we actually found these peptides, have you heard of this syndrome called progeria? These are kids that they have this genetic mutation. They age really fast. And unfortunately, they die at like 13, 14 years. So it's a very sad disease. And we get cells from these donors. They are available for research. And they accumulate a lot of those zombie cells. So we use these cells to find this, to test like these peptides and find the ones that could reduce the amount of those zombie cells. So after we test 900 peptides, we found the West one. That's the one that performed the best. It reduced up to 40% the load of those old cells. And when it does that, what we can also see is that it brings down the inflammation levels. It increases the collagen production, and also reduces what we call the skin biological age. So we can measure that we could reduce the age of the skin in 2.5 years, treating the skins in the lab with this peptide. And we are now doing these studies in humans, which is a lot more challenging because in order to measure the biological age in humans, we need to collect a biopsy. So it's an invasive process, but through clinical studies, we can do that. But we could already see that after 1 year using our product, we could reverse the age or reduce the age in 3.3 years. So that's really exciting because we are now showing, from a cellular standpoint that, yes, it's possible to reverse aging. It doesn't mean that we can reverse like 10, 20 years and that the people will look like 20 years younger. Is still, I would say, a process that requires, consistent use and it's incremental, the results. But I think it's so exciting to see that we can actually, in some ways, like manipulate this process to make ourselves behave like younger again.
Wow. Okay, getting rid of the zombies.
Yes.
What actually ages us? What environmental factors are aging people now?
Yeah, there is a lot that's externally. As I said, UV exposure for the skin is one of the main aging factors. It is actually one of the ways that we induce the skin cells or the skins to age in the lab. We have like a UV simulator. Wow. So we expose like 30-year-old skin to a UV simulator, and we can see that they accumulate a lot of those zombie cells. And then we treat them with like the peptide, and we can see that we can reduce significantly. So definitely UV exposure is one of the main ones. That's why sunscreen is so important. But a lot of our other, habits or lifestyle in terms of stress, your diet, if you have a high inflammatory diet, full in processed food, full in sugar, this is constantly like building inflammation internally that also impacts our body and our skin.
What about blue light?
Yeah, blue light. There are also studies showing that impact our skin. Basically,
that's like your cell phone, computer.
Yeah, screens, and basically it leads to the production of free radicals. And these free radicals, they cause damage in our DNA, in our proteins. So again, we will accelerate the formation of those zombie cells that we want to prevent. That's why some products that contain antioxidants like vitamin C, or we have several antioxidants in our products, they help like neutralize those free radicals. So it's one of the ways that we can prevent the formation of senescent cells. The other way is basically activating the DNA repair pathway, so our cells maintain that efficiency of repairing damage and they don't become, again, zombie or dysfunctional.
Wow. So with sunscreen, I'm always curious because I've heard different things. I've heard that sunscreen, we should wear it all the time. And then I've also heard that sunscreen, prevents us from getting vitamin D and we need it. What do you think?
Yeah, there is always this discussion. I think that, well, first of all, I'm Brazilian. I love the sun. So I think sun is important for us. It's really important to regulate our circadian rhythm and for our mood, for our, happiness. I'm very happy outside. I would say that for me, like I like to take a little bit of sunlight in the morning when the UV index is not like too high. But then I will apply sunscreen, and if I'm going to stay longer periods, I'll reapply. So you should never allow your skin to get sunburn, because obviously sunburn means that you are creating that inflammation, and that inflammation is more damage, and that's when you are really harming your skin. And even if you apply sunscreen and you stay out the whole day, you still are going to produce vitamin D. Is not, and even if you don't stay out, like it's really hard that you are going to block completely vitamin D with the sunscreen, unless you don't get any sun exposure. But also you can supplement vitamin D if your diet with supplements. So to me, I would not risk to be exposed in high UV index that can potentially damage my skin, make me age faster, and be at risk of like skin cancer to get my vitamin D. There are, other sources that you can do that. And obviously there is a lot of confusion about sunscreen in terms of like which one is safe. A lot of them are also full of, some chemicals that are not necessarily good for your skin health.
Like what chemicals would you say?
I would say that there is a lot more controversy around the chemical sunscreens, that there are the ones, based on avobenzene and oxybenzene.
Oxybenzene.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Or nose.
I wouldn't say nose, because if I only have this option, I would still apply it. If I can choose, I would choose a mineral-based sunscreen, because the mineral-based, they tend to be safer.
Which is like a zinc
oxide or titanium dioxide. They tend to reflect the UV light without really penetrating deep into your skin. So the chemical ones, they can penetrate into your skin and they can get into your bloodstream. The studies that show that they can get to your bloodstreams are studies that someone used like a lot of products. So doesn't necessarily mean that if you're using, a few times or whatever, or only on your face, that you get into your bloodstream. But I think if there is a better, safer option, I would, recommend the zinc oxide one.
So mineral sunscreen.
Yeah.
I love y'all's sunscreen. It's so good.
Honestly, I cannot shut up about this. I found bread that is really good for you, has a lot of fiber, has protein, and has like the texture you want in bread. You know what I'm talking about. Like some, quote, healthy breads out there, or gluten-free breads, or like whatever. Like the texture is so bad. But Hero Bread has done it right. They know what they're doing over there. I am obsessed with all of their products. I think namely right now, their flour tortillas and their Hawaiian rolls. Oh my God. I actually just froze a bunch of their Hawaiian rolls because I was like, I got to have these for like months to come because I ordered so many. But if you are not familiar, oh baby, Hero Bread is making bread that
you have to make zero compromises on. It has 0 to 1 gram of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and it's high in fiber. It's delicious. It's flavorful. It's soft. It's fluffy. I have been using it since the summer, actually. So I would use the Hawaiian rolls all the time when we grilled. I would make wraps all the time with the flour tortillas. I'm just pretty obsessed. So I highly, highly recommend if you're someone that's like just not willing to give up bread, okay? And you want bread that's good for you, lots of fiber, protein, and also has a great texture. Hero bread is it. Get 10% off your order at hero.co and use the code almost30 at checkout. That's almost30 at hero.co. This has been so clutch for my mom meals and mom snacks. I use their products all the time to just fill them with something good and then eat it up. It's great. Hero.co. Code is almost 30.
What is when we think about when you think about the skincare industry, because then we were just talking about how there's certain ingredients in sunscreens that aren't as good for us. Like there's so many players, there's so many things, there's so many products. What are some things that you're like, that's a no, that's not really working in the way people think? And then what are things and ingredients that are a yes?
Yeah, it's harder to say like completely no or yes. I would say, so for example, when we started testing our peptide, we used the retinoic acid as a positive control because it's like the gold standard for anti-aging products. And while we know that retinol works and there are a lot of clinical studies, what we saw is that the temporary, when we treated the skins with retinol, the inflammation was going up. And this we can see because our skin can get a little inflamed, in the beginning. And the aging genes were going up too. So say, okay, this is a little surprising. But what this tells me is that on the acute phase, this can occur. So if you use the retinol and then if you stop, then those genes can go down. But if you continue to use and your skin is still, red and inflamed, then you could be potentially accelerating aging if you use too much
Of the retinol.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, and when I had a lot of acne when I was growing up, so I was using retinol a lot, and then eventually I continued to use for its like anti-aging effects. And I was constantly like peeling off and I was constantly like red. And I was like, that's okay. I'm just like getting
When you have
younger.
acne, you're like, this is better than acne.
Yeah.
You're like, burn my whole face off.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But then later on, I didn't have acne anymore. And I was still like peeling just because I thought like, okay, that's how you rejuvenate your skin. But I didn't know that I was going too much. Like I needed to find that balance that I didn't find of like alternating the days that I would use, complementing with a good moisturizer that would calm down my skin. So I think that when I saw the data and I saw, oh, that makes sense why I was like, it was too much, And I think the industry has pushed us like, okay, the stronger, the better.
Yeah.
Let's rip off our skin. Let's,
It should burn. It
yeah,
should be
exactly.
like,
And I think now we're actually like, okay, no, that's not good. I think if it's like temporary, if you're in that phase that you're adapting to the retinol, it's okay. But if it's constant, like we should change something, or maybe retinol is not for everyone, right? Some people cannot tolerate it. So I think for me it was like an interesting kind of a wake-up call. And at that point, I kind of stopped using. Today, I use like from time to time. But what we realized, okay, there are other ways that can be more gentle, that it's actually not working from the top down, it's working from the bottom up, from the inside out, that can also help our skin. So I think that's one. And I think this is the same for like all the acids and like the exfoliation products that if it's like once in a while, they are good. Like it's important to remove like the dead cells and to induce that cell turnover. But if it's too much, again, you could be harming your skin, and that can compromise your skin in the long term. So I think that was one a very interesting, finding that we saw, firsthand in the lab. I think the other things like how products that are full of like toxic ingredients can actually cause more harm than good to our skin. So we also tested some of the like best-selling anti-aging products
From like drugstores or like designer, which kind of brands?
from like brands that are, I'd say, legacy brands, you
Wow,
know.
okay.
Yeah. And when we apply the product in the skin start to degenerate. Like the cells start to die, and there was a lot of inflammation. And we thought that, okay, this is supposed to be like a best-selling
right.
anti-aging. So I think this was another really important insight, that it's important to understand the whole composition of the formula, because the formula can have like good actives, but if the other ingredients are not safe, I don't like to use the term clean because clean is very messy, they can actually, cause more harm than good.
So it's like a legacy brand would have something like, we have vitamin A or we have something, but if the things that are surrounding it or right, the delivery of it, then it can mess with your skin.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Okay.
And I know that's very confusing for the consumer. There are luckily some organizations that are helping to grade or rank like the ingredients. So none of them are perfect. Like we use the skin safe products that basically evaluates. It's a third party organization that evaluates your formula and basically validates if your product's safe or not. There is the EWG that some people use. There is the Eczema Foundation that also is a foundation that, okay, if this is safe for people with eczema, it's safe for everyone. So there are some of those organizations that you can either like type the name of the product or the ingredient, and you can find if the rank is good or not. But I know it's a lot, and that's why I think nowadays it's better to simplify your skincare routine, because you have fewer products to investigate. Because if you have too many products, like you can be using one that's good but other one that's not as good, and in the end, and we've seen that like our skin can get exhausted with like too many actives. So it's I think it's another.
Oh, that's interesting. So when people have too many active ingredients that they're using in their skincare, it can get exhausted where the cells are. What do you mean by skin can get exhausted?
I think you are giving either like too many different like stimulus to the cells.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and even if you have like different actives, again, those actives can come together with like not so good or toxic ingredients. So in the end, your skin will overreact.
Right.
Yeah.
I had that a week or so ago. It was too many vitamin C things, or like the vitamin C was too intense, and my skin was like super red, just like I was like, oh, I didn't realize that could happen so simply.
Yeah, exactly. Vitamin C, depending on the form, it can be very unstable, so can oxidize. And when it's oxidized, again, it's contributing to the formation of free radicals. So it can also, and obviously you can see if it changes the color, right? If it becomes a little brown, then the product's not good anymore.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So being mindful about the expiration date with things like especially like vitamin C. What do you think about collagen?
You mean supplementation of collagen?
Yeah, what do you think about supplementing collagen for skin, and then collagen products that have collagen in them?
Yeah, products that have collagen in them, I would say that, okay, there is a line of thought that if you apply collagen on your skin microbiome will metabolize that collagen and you will produce like collagen peptides. And those peptides can be taken by your skin and induce collagen production.
Right.
To me, it's better if we can show that a certain ingredient can directly induce collagen production. So usually just applying collagen topically, I wouldn't necessarily say that is the best approach. When it's about collagen intake, there are some studies showing that it can help, but it's in an indirect way. So basically, when I'm taking collagen, you'll be breaking down that collagen into small peptides, and your body can direct that collagen to whatever it thinks that it needs more. So it could go to your joints, it could go to your cartilage, and it can go to your skin as well, but not necessarily. So in general, like collagen, they can also have some anti-inflammatory properties. So I wouldn't say that's bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that's gonna go to your skin, but there is no harm of like taking collagen. In the end, like you're delivering like the building blocks that you need for your skin, for your body to build more collagen.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard mixed, but I feel like for me and my skin, I've always been able to really tell when I'm taking collagen, and really I can tell immediately
that you see
on
an
the
effect.
texture of my skin, like the plumpness, my fine lines. Like it's, I think, been one of the tried and true things that has been incredibly helpful for me, in my work. That, and then vitamin C, and then sunscreen, pretty simple things. I want to talk a little bit about free radicals. How do free radicals impact skin?
Yeah, so basically free radicals are these oxidative species that they can cause damage in the proteins and the DNA. So they can cause eventually mutations, and they can help, they can also lead to more inflammation, and they can lead to the accumulation of the zombie cells. So in general, the antioxidants, as I said, they are very important to neutralize those free radicals.
And you get antioxidants from food.
You can get from food, but also from some topical supplements like vitamin C. Vitamin C is supposed to be a very powerful antioxidant. Again, there are different forms of vitamin C. They need to be very stable. There is other types like green tea or like acai extract. We have several.
Blueberries.
Yeah, exactly. Blueberries. On our sunscreen, we actually have 5 antioxidants, and we measure the level of the neutralizing capacity for free radicals, and it was very similar to other vitamin C in the market. So one advantage of like our sunscreen is that you can basically like escape or replace vitamin C because it's already loaded with antioxidants.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's truly just the best. What are some things so we talked a lot about the skincare industry, kind of what we're seeing, where there's just a lot of products, there's a lot of different players, there's some that are ineffective, some that are effective. We talked about how to find out how effective they are. What are some things, like besides your peptide, or even including your peptide, that you're seeing in the space right now that's exciting?
Yeah, I think a lot of I'm excited to see new ingredients, because I think for a while there was not much innovation in terms of like new ingredients and how they are tested, how they are combined. So I think delivery system, there are different ways that you can encapsulate a certain like ingredient to be able to deliver in a sustainable way for like the long term. So I think these are very interesting ways that we can optimize the efficacy of our skincare products. And as I said, like for a long time, I think we were just like mixing the same ingredients and putting in different bottles. So new ingredients, there are a lot of like interesting biotech companies developing new ingredients that are supporting the skin in different ways. And I think that will help us to be able to manage, to control this skin aging process and in a better way, more effective way.
Yeah. What are things you suggest for people to do health and lifestyle wise to support themselves? Like drink water. What are your favorite recommendations?
For skin or for everything?
Skin.
Yeah. I think for skin, well, for me, one thing that really helped me, it's like watch again which products I'm putting on my face, including makeup.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I really decreased the amount of makeup that I'm using. So today I rarely use foundation. I use like the sunscreen that's already tinted. I use a little bit of a lighter powder blush, and And I think my skin has been so much better. Like
Yeah.
my skin has been like healthier, clear, and so obviously, the products that you put, the kind of makeup you put, like it really is going to impact your skin. Never obviously sleep with makeup.
Oh my
Always.
gosh. Even in my college days when I was my
I know.
drunkest,
Yeah.
I never slept with makeup
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Even now I take breaks where I'll take like weeks off wearing makeup. I was
Yeah.
just on a trip last week with friends in Colorado and I didn't wear makeup all week, even to dinners when we went out. Like it just feels so good. And I'm grateful. I don't know if that was because my mom didn't wear makeup much in my life, but I'm grateful too that it's a confidence thing, that I have the
Yeah.
confidence to not wear makeup, because
Yeah.
I know for a lot of people, they don't feel confident not
Yeah.
wearing makeup, but it feels so nice to just let your skin breathe.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the goal with like, again, promoting the skin health, that
Yeah.
you should be comfortable on your skin, on your bare skin, right? And that's why, a lot of times less is better, and doing that kind of refresh and detox of your skin in some ways is super important. And obviously, we already talked a little bit about diet, but if you can do that, those detox in terms of like, maybe stop like eating sugar or red meat for some time. And
What's the effect of red meat on skin?
I would say that a lot of red meat, depending on your overall health, it can be inflammatory.
Wow.
Because basically, red meat and the fat that's present, if it's combined with sugar, then it's really, really inflammatory. If you only eat red meat and like good fats and salads, I'd say you're probably okay if you already don't have like a lot of adipose tissue in your body. But very rarely you're gonna find someone that, okay, I eat red meat and I eat zero sugar.
Yeah.
So I'm, in general, I know that there are a lot of controversy around this, but in general, I would diminish the amount of red meat. And if you see like the people that live longer, they tend to eat the more Mediterranean kind of lifestyle in terms of diet. I will be honestly, not necessarily. There are a lot of studies correlating red meat with like skin. It's just like, I would say, an overall health or longevity approach that, it could be inflammatory if you combine with like sugar or carbohydrates intake.
Wow. I'm available for that. I feel like I haven't had red meat since I was like 19. And I'm fine with whatever anyone does, but I do feel like there's like now a resurgence of like so much of it where I'm like, I don't know how good this is to be having so much.
Yeah, I agree. And that's like the extremes are never good, right?
Yeah.
I was vegetarian for a while, and today I eat occasionally. My father unfortunately passed because of cardiovascular disease. So I believe that, decreasing the intake definitely helps. But I would never go on the paleo diet, because also I like a little bit of my bread. I like a little
Oh my
bit,
gosh, same.
Yeah, so I will never like cut completely
No.
carbs. And so to me, it's like a balance, and I like that balance. And I think to me, like processed food and sugar are like the really,
Yeah. Which we can all, that's the thing, is like you can do carnivore, paleo,
exactly.
Mediterranean. It's like we can all agree processed food and sugar is like really the thing that really, I noticed too, when I am having more sugar, my skin, I can also tell it just looks a little more dehydrated, looks a little less plump. When I'm having hydrating foods like fruits, antioxidant rich foods, I can tell my skin looks better. If I'm having healthy fats, fish, like fish oil, it just looks so much better. Would you say is like the one thing people should take away about their skin health?
I would say, so again, first of all, like don't think of your skin only as the skin of your face.
Oh my gosh, that is such a good one.
Because your body is 97% of your skin. And if you want to maintain your skin healthy and stronger to protect your body in the long term, you should take care of your body as well. And this includes like obviously treating with like good products, but also applying sunscreen whenever you are too much in the sun. And really thinking of your skin again as an organ that is important for us to take care. And so we like to, call our product like topical supplements, because like we want to supplement, we want to nurture our skin as we're nurturing our body. And really respect our skin in terms of like, again, if it's becoming too sensitive, it's like overreacting. Like, let's listen to what our skin is telling us, that we should maybe dial down on the things that we are doing. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's like seeing it as the organ, seeing it as more than just the face. Because I know you've said before on another podcast about the eye skin.
Yeah.
Is older. Will you say that?
Yeah. That was a very interesting data that we found, that we know that the skin around our eyes age faster, right? We know on the lab, we know that it's like around 5 times thinner than the skin around the rest of our face. And when we measure the biological age, is 20 to 30 years older than the skin around our temple, on our temple or forehead. So it was really shocking.
So it's really important to be using eye cream and anti-aging products on the eyes. Because it's 20 to 30 years older.
Yeah,
wow.
It ages so much faster. It accumulates more of those, zombie cells. So when we were working on new products, we were like, does it make sense to develop an eye cream? And then we saw this data, so yes, it does make sense. But for us, like, we actually needed to develop a product that was specifically tested in eyelid skin. So we got skins like from people that were doing blepharoplastic surgeries.
Wow.
And we were culturing like those skins that are very thin and very delicate in the lab. And they require such a very, I would say, particular formulation, because it's more delicate, so it gets irritated soon. But we were able to increase the concentration of the peptide, to add other actives, and we got to increase the collagen production with that product up to 230% compared to the skin that was not treated. So it took us a long time to get to this formula, and then we ran clinical studies, and we saw like really impressive studies on the fine lines, even on the eyelids, like people that had the eyelid like drooping.
Yeah,
it kind of gave a lifting effect. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely the most powerful formula that we have. We have the strongest clinical data.
I love your eye cream. It's really nice. Yeah, that's so just for people listening, blepharoplasty is when you basically reduce the amount of eye skin above your eyes so that your eye looks less droopy, less sagging. A lot of people get them. A lot of people in LA get them. They get like multiple of them. But it's something that as you age, your skin there kind of droops. So it kind of opens the eye a little bit. So that's fascinating. You were able to take those skin cells and then kind of get the data for it.
Yeah. And for us, that's like how we can get the closest to the condition that we want to treat, right? So that's, to us, that's what is exciting, like in terms of developing something that's going to translate better to our consumers and deliver more benefits. And
I think what I've loved about using your products is the body lotion too, because that was, I don't know why I didn't recognize this before, but I was sort of the camp of looking at my face as like, how old do I look in my skin based on my face? How youthful. And then I realized that when I looked at people as a whole, and I would look at their whole skin and body and then determine their age. And I'm like, I need to be mindful about my body skin, like and my body aging. So I love using the body lotion because it helps me prevent aging on my body, which is something we overlook so much.
Exactly. And then when we get to notice, we're going to see like the crepey, the sagging skin, then it's obviously we can still reverse, but if we can start treating earlier, it's so much more important and better, because we can maintain that skin elasticity, the firmness, the thickness of the skin for longer. and most people completely ignore their body. And I think this is also changing. I think people are definitely, and obviously it starts with your neck and décolletage, but and hands. Oh my goodness, don't forget our hands. But
my
I
new
think
thing is when I have my sunscreen on from you guys, I'll like rub it all over my hands too, to keep my hands covered from the sun.
Yeah, and mainly when you are driving too, that's another time that we tend to forget. But so the body lotion has also got so much like impressive feedback, because there are not many products in the market that are targeting the skin on your body. Everyone just cares about their face, and eventually when we realize, okay, now we have the skin like really thin and fragile, and even like for older people, I don't know if you still have your grandparents, but you see how fragile is their skin, and that eventually the skin starts to bruise and tear. So we got amazing feedback from people that needed to use Band-Aids on their whole body, and they started using the body lotion, and they didn't, the skin could like heal again and could like become stronger again. So this to me also speaks again, it's strengthening your skin, right? It's like for your health, and obviously we want to keep the skin like looking good, but eventually becomes like a healthy issue if we don't take care like early on.
Yeah, it's huge. I don't have my grandparents anymore, but I do remember my grandpa. He would bruise so easily.
Right?
I'm like, what's going on here? What are you doing?
And that's what's going to happen to us if we don't care, right?
Yeah,
right?
It's like an iron thing. I don't know. But it's been such a pleasure to have a sunscreen that I really love, that I can use all the time, to have the body for anti-aging. The eye cream is amazing. I have the face wash in my shower, and the approach that you're taking with the peptides has been really great, and I just love it. So I'm so grateful that you were able to come on and really break down all of this for us. I feel like I learned so much. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience that you feel like is super interesting or relevant, or you're like, oh, I'd love to just like end with that?
Well, as I said, I'm really passionate about, skin health, but aging as a whole. And we're recording this in September, and since September is like the healthy aging month. Yeah, and one of our mission, part of our mission at OneSkin is really to empower people to be proud of their age, but also take control of their health. So I think we want to live with this message that it's never too early or too late for you change like the small decisions that you make on a daily basis that will help you to be 20, 30 years from now looking good, feeling good. And that now we also have like a lot of, scientific discoveries and new technologies that we can take advantage, that can help us to get there feeling our best. Just like a message for everyone that whatever you are, like it's a good day to start like making change and taking control of your health. And I think we'll think ourselves like 20 years from now. I think it's easy to think like short term, what make us feel good right now. It's harder to think really long term, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at your hands are crazy. They're stunning.
Oh, thank you.
They're so silky. Now I'm like obsessed with hands. I'm like going to be on my little hand tip for this whole thing. It was such a pleasure to have you. I learned so much. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that we are working with you. We have a discount code almost 30 for all the products. Again, the sunscreen's amazing. I love the eye cream. I love the body cream. The face wash is really, really great and gentle. And I feel like it's been such a great add to my routine, or a replacement for my routine. And I appreciate you coming on almost 30 and joining me in person.
Thank you so much, Krista. Yeah. This was amazing.
Amazing. Okay, guys, we'll see you later. I love you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Carolina. We appreciate you. She is the co-founder and CEO of OneSkin, along with her 3 other female founders, which is really powerful.
Wow.
try OneSkin. OneSkin.co. Use the code almost30. We love all of their products, but specifically we're loving right now the face sunscreen, the body lotion, the face lotion, and the under eye. So try it out. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. To check out more from Almost 30, follow us on Instagram, TikTok at Almost 30 Podcast, and make sure to subscribe on YouTube. We are on video right now. Hello, YouTube. So subscribe there.
Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. You're the best. Bye.
Bye.